was a small boy, I used to spend a lot of time up to the farm with my grandfather. Well, one year, I just arrived and he presented me with this little turkey chick. Well, I looked at the bird and he looked at me. I remember my grandfather said,
"You take care of that bird now. He'll grow to be important to the family one day."
well, that was a pretty big responsibility for a small boy. But every time I was up there, I'd go look at the bird and he'd look at me. Well, I pet him, I fed him, walked him around the farm. We had a wonderful time that summer.
Albuquerque was a turkey, and he's feathered and he's fine, and he wobbles and he gobbles, and he's absolutely mine.
Well, autumn had come in and I was up to the farm again, and my grandfather said,
"Winter's coming. You gotta make sure he's plump and healthy by the holidays."
well, I went out and took a look at him. I looked at the bird and he looked at me, and he had grown into a fine, fat gobbler. Well, before we knew it, it was Christmas Eve. My grandfather decided I was old enough, and he said,
"We need to prepare that bird of yours for Christmas dinner."
well, my first thought was, Grammy's never going to let a turkey in the house for dinner, especially in her fancy dining room. I could hear her saying,
"Get that filthy bird out of here. I want to tell you, that boy's lost his mind, yep."
well, just then my grandfather handed me an axe. And he looked at me and he said,
"I reckon you're going to need some help there."
it dawned on me the important role that turkey was going to play for our Christmas dinner. So I grabbed the axe and I said, no, sir, I'll do it myself. Well, I walked down. There he was, full grown. Well, I looked at the bird and he looked at me, that axe shaking in my hand. Well, I walked back up to the house, and my grandpa said to me,
"You kill that bird?"
I said, nah, I'll do it after Grandpa goes to bed. It got dark, and I headed back to the barn, sweaty grip on that axe handle. And I looked at the bird, and he looked at me. Well, I couldn't bring myself to kill him, so I fed him whiskey, plucked him, put him in the icebox. Well, the next day, my grandmother opened that fridge, and that bird jumped out as proud and naked as the day he was born, I want to tell you.
"Oh my stars, would you look at that?"
Never did kill that bird. Spent all Christmas Day knitting him a sweater.
Albuquerque was a turkey, and he's feathered and he's fine, and he wobbles and he gobbles, and he's absolutely mine. He's the best pet that you can get, better than a dog or cat. Albuquerque is my turkey, and I'm awfully glad of that.
Merry Christmas.